All right, and next up we have Deena and Marshall. Can we get a round of applause for them? They drove all the way in from Corpus for us today. Marshall's going to talk this time? Yes. All right. So how was your drive from Corpus?
It was great.
It was great. I turned around and got to sleep. She drove finally.
What?
So, yep.
And
It was nice.
that's usually my spot, this passenger seat. Passed out. I'm like, oh yeah, let's talk. I'll keep you company.
That's usually what she does.
I
so.
played. Let's see if we can beat the GPS here.
Oh, I always lose that game. All right, so tell everybody a little bit about yourselves.
So I'm Marshall Casalis. I turn around and work for a refinery down in Corpus as an industrial firefighter. A little bit of background. I turn around and also do project management for the fire department side, installing fire suppression systems and detection systems, stuff like that with some of our contractors. So.
And you do math.
I do. Well, not really. It's more tax law. So I am a case resolution specialist. So whenever you get your taxes done at your CPA's office and they say, would you like to buy that protection plan? I'm
Yes.
the one on the other end that if you end up in an audit, I help with the audit.
All right. And so how did you guys find Lifestyles Unlimited?
So before I had an accounting practice and I ended up selling it. Well, long story short, my mom had a heart attack in San Antonio on a deadline. And I had one client we were working with because they hadn't gotten all their stuff in on time. So we were trying to claw back the numbers. They hadn't done the bookkeeping correctly. And we were going to miss the deadline because she had a heart attack on the deadline. So
how inconvenient of her.
That's what the client said.
Oh, no.
So I was like, if there's any penalties, we can get it abated. If not, I'll go ahead and pay the difference out of our pocket.
Sure.
And she was like, well, if it would have been done before.
Did you tell a calculator? I'm just kidding. Little accounting joke? No? No one?
So in September, that happened in September, so I thought about it. I ended up putting my practice for sale in December, and then 2 weeks later, I sold it and started doing wholesaling and flipping. Those are bad words. Don't do that. But I did have a friend that I just kept seeing David Fisher's posts come up on all my friends' feeds, all my real estate friends' feeds. So I was like, who is this guy? And so eventually, probably a year later, we ended up taking the 2-day online, but it was during COVID in 2020, so he fell asleep.
Yep.
Only because he was never paying attention to begin with, or he wouldn't have fallen asleep. And then we bought our first property. We really didn't do much after that until we came and saw the in-person and then started working with the mentors, and then we started buying more properties.
Marshall, did you fall asleep when you were in person?
Oh, no, definitely not in person. I was pretty hyped up, really hyped up.
He was like, oh my gosh, we need to do this right now. This is amazing. I was like,
He's like, hey, have you heard about this Lifestyles thing?
yes. I
My
was
thing
like, really?
Is you turn around and throw out there that I can retire? I'm like, oh, awesome. I don't have to wake up so I wake up at 3:45 every morning. And so if I don't have to do that anymore, oh, blessing. Awesome.
You can sleep until 4:45.
Yeah, she'll wake me up early.
I will.
I won't. I'll sleep till 9. All right. So this is the property. You purchased it in 2001. This one is in Corpus Christi. It's on Doty Street. Again, we're looking at a clean and functional rehab. It is a very pretty property, but you didn't really do that much to the kitchen, it looks like. It looks like you just spruced up some countertops and kind of went in and updated things.
That's pretty much, we painted it, we fixed the countertops, put in new appliances.
Cute little backsplash, subway tile.
And then Marshall redid the floors. And I think that's about it. Oh, we did remember we ended up spraying water all over the floor on accident.
Oh, yeah, so
So you mopped the floors.
it's quite funny. We had linoleum in the kitchen, and I looked at the tubing, and I'm like, that ought to be shut off. Well, it wasn't. It was the water line. So I call her, and I'm sitting there holding it with my hand, because if I let go, it's going to flood the kitchen. Cell phone in the other hand, waiting 15 minutes for her to finally show up. For her to hold it, and me to go outside and find the meter, because I had no clue where it was at.
And that's why you use the contractors.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, that seemed like it was destined to happen, right? A firefighter spraying the water? I don't know.
Pretty much. Yep.
All right. So again, just kind of going through these pictures, looks like you painted, you did some updating, made it clean and functional, made it marketable, so people are proud to live there and call it a home. It's your house, but it's their home. And here are the numbers on this particular property. You acquired it for $93,000. Your rehab was pretty minimal, $12,000. The after repair value, that's what it appraised for once it was fixed up, was $175,000. So that's an equity capture of almost $60,000. But your cash out of pocket was only $20,000, which means you had a 284% return on equity. You're renting the property and you're cash flowing $485 a month on it, meaning after your mortgage, principal, interest, taxes are paid, you are cash flowing $485 into your pocket, which is a 28.2% return. Is that excitingly?
Do I need to come stomp on the stage again? I mean,
Absolutely.
like, what in the world?
That's why it's my favorite property. It cash flows the best.
It is a good cash flow. And I really want to point out that cash flow is the unsung hero, right? Because at the end of the day, that is money that is guaranteed to come into your pocket. Cash flow is what is ultimately going to be able to retire Marshall, because a couple more of these, he can walk away from that 9 to 5.
Hopefully.
Or 345
We're going to get there. Yeah.
So as far as your entire portfolio, and we just updated this one today, you had sold one of the properties. You had a property 2 doors down also on Doty, and you just closed, literally just closed on Zarski.
Yes, shout out to Adam Welch. He's our lender.
Thank you.
We closed Monday evening on the refi, and we got $1,720 back.
Fantastic. So with all of these properties, your current annual cash flow is $21,372. That means every year you've given yourself a $21,372 raise. And with these properties, you have an equity capture of $340,000.
And I want to point out that doesn't include the principal pay down on the Everharts. We did a cash out refi of an additional $60,000, and we're still cash flowing on that about $600 a month.
All right, I got to come back on the stage again. Oh my God. All right. Okay, first of all, you understand that 21,000 is not really 21,000, right? Because we have something called depreciation in real estate, which means that you can discount the value of the house every single year and pretend like it's losing value on your taxes. Am I right?
You're right.
You're the tax expert.
You're correct.
Okay. So that 21,000 is really more like going and getting a $30,000 raise at your job.
Yes.
Because that's what you're getting at the end of the day, right? And check this out. I mean, first of all, 300%, guys. 300%. How many people would like to do a 300% return deal? Hands up. If your hands aren't up, they will never be up for anything. All right? Now, how many of those deals would you like to do? Anybody? All of them is the right answer, right? Look at this, $340,000, not of money that they put into the deals. This was equity capture. This is what they walked away with after they invested in the deal, or as they invested in the deal, right?
It was the reward for buying the
That is the reward for buying the house, and you're right, that's not where it ends.
That's right. There's equity capture, principal pay down.
Principal pay down. That means
So-
your tenant is paying.
Down the loan.
That's
So,
right.
For instance, on our Gullahart property, the loan amount for that, it's worth $175. We're trying to sell it right now. Our current loan is $59,000.
For what it's worth, I like how she did this list because all the names in the column there, they look like friends, right?
Money is my friend.
You know, good old Doty. I love that one, right?
Well, and then if you want to talk even further, this also won't include the appreciation that has been building in these properties year after year of owning them, right? Because every year the value of real estate goes up. So basically every year you're giving yourself a raise just by owning a property and collecting rent.
Yes. And then we're going to take it to the next level. We finally decided, right?
So this is where I get really excited. So I can't wait to turn around, sell all these off, and get into apartments.
Oh, yeah?
That's what we want.
That's the goal. So are you thinking you want to be a passive? Are you going to be a lead? Do you want to be an IRA? These are all terms that Lee will cover in the
We forgot to tell y'all. So when we took out the cash out refi, we took that money and invested in our first passive deal with apartments.
Give her a hand, folks.
You're going to get so addicted to to being a passive. I was a holdout for a long time as well, and let me tell you how amazing it is giving people money and making them work for you, and then you just get to, you don't even have to check your mailbox. It's no longer mailbox money. It's ACH auto payment drafts into your bank account. So
That sounds
thanks,
nice.
Leeds. I appreciate you. All right, so on your team, you've worked with Joey Sullivan. You also used a lot of realtor in Corpus because these properties are in your hometown.
Yes. Well, a lot of them we actually use, we do off-market.
Do up, of course.
We'll buy them
Your
from
wholesale
wholesalers.
Connects, exactly. And you used Adam from CMG.
We always use Adam. We've used him for 3 properties.
He's awesome.
Yes, and every property that we've closed with him, we've gotten cash back. So I love that.
Fantastic.
It's always fun signing and getting that $2,000 deposit after.
Does anybody have any questions? How long do you typically
I
lease your
do
houses out
1
for?
year. And then I even have the renters, if the taxes and insurance go up, then the rent goes up. But a lot of our renters really love us because we're really good landlords and they don't want to leave. So we might sell some to them. We'll see.
Any other questions?
We're not, but I do have a property management company that lists the properties and vets the tenants.
So you're managing it yourself, meaning if
Yes.
something goes wrong, your residents call you directly opposed to calling a property manager.
Yes.
But you do have somebody open the door and help you find
But I
them.
will say, we already have a team built. So for instance, there was a power outage and the AC went out. So I just texted my AC guy and he's like, okay, I'll be there at, 10:30. So then I called the renter. He went, how do we pay him?
What?
We send him Cash App.
Cash
I'm
App.
like, how much do I Cash App?
Cash
you?
App or Venmo,
That sounds like a lot of work.
You don't even have
does.
to pull it
Not
out
at
and
all.
write a check anymore.
So he fixed the AC and we didn't even have to show up.
Fantastic.
As long as you have a good team behind you, electricians, plumbers, it works out awesome. It really does. It makes life way easier than what it used to be, because I used to be her contractor. So, I was the one showing up with with one of the little roto-rooters to turn around, clean out the pipes, and that's not fun.
No, not at all. How long did it take you to build your team that you're comfortable with?
Probably close to about 3 years.
Yeah, well,
But not really. We started, so what I did was we're not in San Antonio, we're in Corpus. So we don't have the vendor list.
Yeah.
But I would put out on Facebook, hey, who do y'all like? And then along the way, we decided who we liked and who we didn't. So I think it was less than 3 years.
well, let me give you some color on that, okay? It's an ongoing process, right? Because the reality is you hire somebody and they're great. And then over time, people do what people do and think, maybe they're not so great anymore. I'm going to get somebody new, right? So their current team may have taken that long to find, but it doesn't, because you network with other people. And we've got people in cities all over the country. And I know we've got a great group down in Corpus.
Yes.
And you talk to them, right? Who are you using, right? Maybe you use them next time, okay? So I know it didn't take you 3 years
I was thinking about it wasn't 3 years because
Yeah.
Nick, we got him because our next door neighbor's brother was a licensed
There you
electrician.
go. Yeah.
And so who else do we have?
So
and
it
then
took 3 years to perfect
to
the
perfect
team.
the
Perfect
team.
it, pretty much to where
To
we don't
where we don't
have
have to
do
show
anything.
up.
We don't have to do it.
We just write the checks.
Trust
They even
them
come to our
100%.
mailbox and get the checks.
But the secret to success, honestly, with team building is always having backups. Your bench can never be too deep. Any other questions? And now
We
the
need
lenders want
to,
them to keep
yes.
it staying in a single family.
So it was so easy with Adam this time. Like, he already has our stuff. It's easy every time, but this time I think we refied it. When did we buy it? We bought it in November. We had it finished in January, and then we refied it on Monday. So, I mean, it's just getting faster and easier.
Streamlining the process.
Yeah, November 26th, or right the 2 days before Thanksgiving, we bought it.
Tips on appraisal issues.
So this last one, we didn't let it season, and we had to get 2 appraisals. But I think have strong comps, have good realtors in your back pocket. So what we did when we had to fight it is we pulled comps from the MLS, and then we were able to get the correct appraisal. Yes. And also having it rent, so in between the first appraisal and the second appraisal, we rented it out. We were gonna refi without even renting it out yet. So maybe also have it rented out. That might help too.
Any other questions?
I think that's a question for Adam. Oh no, that was the problem. We bought it on the, okay, I'll give y'all my whole scoop on the other deal. So the property was worth $179, the one that we just closed on. But I had been posting on Facebook all of my real estate activities, and I had somebody come to me with a property that was on the MLS, and they said, "Can you buy my property?" And I said, "Well, you know, if I were you, I'd just leave it on the MLS. You're gonna get more money, because I have to buy it at 70% minus repairs, minus, you know." And so he was like, "Well, come, just give me a number." So I gave him the 120 number. And he said, "You know what, that works for me, when can you close?" And so I used the Lifestyles vendors. So I said, "Well, we can close in 2 weeks, but let's do 3. Y'all, he called me 2 days before 2 weeks was up, and he wanted to close in 2 weeks. So we did it, we closed it. But the problem was it was on MLS, so whenever the first appraiser went, we got a new appraiser, and he said, "You bought it for 120, it's worth 120, and so we had to fight it with comps.
Yeah. Here's the real answer to your question, okay? You work with your mentor, and you work with the team that you've put together, right? And anything that comes up, you can get a quick answer to because somebody else has had the same thing come up,
We'll help
right?
you troubleshoot.
Yes.
Or you troubleshoot, right? So, but having a mentor
And
is
I always ask Joey questions
it's
all the time.
a game changer. Yeah. And that's what we do here at Lifestyles.
Any other questions?
We do have a couple online.
All right.
Okay, so Jim was asking the square footage and age of the property.
Which one? This one or the one we just closed on?
The one that you showed.
Dodie.
That was
It was a
Dodie.
baby property. What, 1,000 square feet?
1,000, maybe 1,100 square feet, something like that.
How old was it?
1960s, 1965.
It was 1965.
And how long to find a renter for that property?
Oh, that one? So we've tried to rent that one out during Christmas, and the realtor that I was using at the time didn't find anybody. So I posted it on Facebook, and we had a renter a week later.
There you go. Any other questions?
That's everybody.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Oh, I put it on Marketplace. I also put it on my personal page and asked my friends to share. We had, the last one that we just rented out, we had like 2,500 clicks. And so I use a realtor. So what I do is I'll say, you know, I can come and show you the property. I really don't even have to do that, but I like to kind of pre-screen. And then if they want to apply, I just give them the realtor's information, and then they handle the application process, and I don't hear back until I have a qualified person. And they drop the rent right in my bank account, so I don't have to collect rent.
So one of the biggest fears that we see, guys, and people come in here with is, I think I can buy a house, right? I think I work with a mentor, a realtor, whatever. I think I can rehab the house. And oh my God, I don't know if I can lease the house. That's the biggest fear. And I'll go through it this weekend. That's actually the easiest part.
It is. Yeah. And the mentors are really good. I mean, we're always calling Joey with our questions, and he's very responsive.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Yes.
So the class this weekend is the Financial Freedom Program, right? It's normally $740. Is that what they usually? I don't know what it is. But there's a discount to is it $297, guys?
That's correct.
Okay, $297 for 2 years. That gets you the 2-day class, 16 hours worth of content. Yes, my voice starts to give out, but it's okay. I'll make it through. And then you've got access to online materials, and you've got right. And so to get a mentor, we have to pay you, right? Okay. So we have other mentor membership levels, but if you don't decide to hire Lifestyles as a mentor, my suggestion to you is you need a mentor anyway. Whether you go find it yourself, someone you know that's done real estate, or you hire Lifestyles to be your mentor. We can go through that this weekend.
And I will say, we bought one property before we had a mentor, and it went so much better with the mentor. We
Oh,
made
yeah.
more money. It paid for itself.
All right, well, can we give Deena and Marshall a huge round of applause for
Yeah.
driving in from Corpus to share their story?